Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge, in a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man.
Particular purpose.
This
Such information is provided as
changes the environment of the body
and is
to
believed
allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of
be
every
accurate
man
at the time
today
of its
and can be ordered by medical practitioners which not only enhance and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 397th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 9th, 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be host today. And of course, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be delivering today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to launch into today's workshop?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back to another, what we call knowledge extravaganza, where we learn more, we teach more, and so many of our teachings is more or less destined for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that by the time the technology is developed, they'll be the beneficiaries of these new breakthroughs. Science moves on, and to bring a radical change, we need a radical new science. In that way, we can change a lot of things, and at the same time bring our leaders to understand that the time for change has come, and in so many directions they can take us that does not lead to war and conflict, but to development of new technologies and sciences that improves the life of the man, not only on this planet, but beyond. In the last week's teaching, we concentrated on book number 2, which was the light. What is light? The transportation method in the dimension of the universe and not man-made rocket technology and the donkey. We see in the progress and the development how far we can open this knowledge. It's good to have the knowledge, but what can we do with it? What are the opportunities it offers us, and how we can manipulate it to become a positive point in the structure of the life of the man or any other creature across the universe. Mankind is one of the latest, what I call races, which has opened his eyes to the light. Understanding it, as of even last week, that light is not just the light as you see it, but is a means of transportation, is a means of getting from one to another, not having the energy inside to burn, but using the resources of the two ends where you want to be, where you create the dimension and direction. In a way, when we go to the moon, we don't need to burn fuel the way it's in tradition today, but we just tune to the heartbeat. We tune to the magnetic field strength. We tune into the rhythm of the life in moon, the way our oceans do, and moon allows us to find our position in respect to it. In the future transportation, through magnetic gravitational field system, we dictate how much gravity and how much magnetic field we create within our system that allows us to position ourselves 1 meter away from the surface of the moon, 1 kilometer, 1,000 or 1 million kilometers away from it. Now we understand the process. Now we understand that by magnetically and gravitationally positioning ourselves in respect to the position and destination, we have new opportunities. We create new dimensions and directions in the world of science and technology. In the world of transportation and transmutation, we move in a manner that it's easier to achieve everything that we wished for. In a way, if this is our destination, 6th of 6 of 2022, and we are still on Earth toddling about what we're going to do. All we need to do is to create the gravitational magnetic field within a smaller system, within your cores, with the single reactors you have or double reactors you have. And this planet continuously sends us waves of fields, both directions, magnetical and gravitational. And depending on which one we can tune into, we can fly and position ourselves anywhere within this band and even on it. And if we extend the knowledge in it. The beauty of the new science and technology is that when, for example, the moon sends its fields, we convert it back in our system and we get back on the backtrack of the gravitation. In a way, once we discover any of the two magnetic gravitational fields, instead of this field going and somewhere interacting with the liquids of the planet and rising them and following them on sequences, we become that water. We become that point of destination where we respond back and we convert back. That's the trick of traveling with a gravitational magnetic field. It is literally like a monkey jumping from two strings from one to another. But this time, this monkey knows how to divert it. The process of transportation, transmutation in the coming time, then it goes on what strength of this field you want to use. Do you want to be, or do you have the dimension of it? Then this point becomes absolutely irrelevant. It can be anywhere in the universe. Then, at the same time, you can decide on which strength of this field you want to catch on to. That in that strength, in what strength you will return back to. If this is the speed of light on Earth, this could be the speed of light in another galaxy. This is your speed of light, let's say 1. At this strength in the inner sanctums, it could be 10. You want to go faster, you go deeper in the plasma strength of the fields of the point of destination. You can go 10 to the power of 6. Depends on what strength to the center of the, what we call magnetic fields, you want to travel in. Are you going in or are you going out? Are you planning to sink in inside? Or are you trying to position further? For example, this number 1 is at this point. The number 2 is at this point. This one is somewhere here. Then you see, you still can choose a greater magnetic field and travel thousands of times, millions of times just the speed of light on this planet. This is to you, you're going away from it. This to you, coming into it. You decide. You're going anti-clockwise. You're going clockwise. You go differently. Depends on the position of the direction and the motion of the place. With this method of transportation, you have one advantage. You can travel to the places that there are no gravitational magnetic fields, but you can create it yourself. You're traveling at the speed of light of 1. And you want to go to a point of imaginary destination here. I don't want to see you at your home. I don't want you to come to my home. We meet in the cafe, somewhere we are both happy. The cafe, the rendezvous place, is there is no planet. There is no gravitational field area. You zoom in with a magnetic gravitation of 10, sending a faster speed on. You create a zone of fields, of gravitational magnetic fields, and then you travel in with L1. Then you set the speed and the dimension and the direction. You create your service station in the world, anywhere in the universe. Because you have created the field yourself, you don't need to catch it. You're already in it. This goes back to when we thought about multi-core reactors. Multi-core reactors were not designed only for defense technology to create different barriers. The purpose of multi-core reactors is you fly with 1 here, but with 10 here, you create the fields. So you become the point of destination pressurized by magnetic field and by gravitational field. This is the way man will travel in the time to come. There is no limitation, there is no restriction in where you want to be. Even on Earth, you can tune in to go into the depths of the planet without even drilling a hole. You create the gravitational magnetic field strength of the Earth at that point. Would you like to live within a magma and see what happens? Now is possible. Now man has the knowledge and the capability of it. Now man is in a position to be able to understand the process of the transportation and transmutation through magnetic fields, and not by burning the fuel, but by rays of the sun that they might collect some. And if you can be clever enough to understand more, you can even swim within the heart of the man. If you can create this gravitational magnetic field, and the doctors of the future will do this, they'll be present when they're repairing a valve of the heart. It's not the dimension, it's the light which drives and reaches and transfers the information and the knowledge. You're not going to be a useless yellow submarine, but you're going to be within a system which submerges to every point of the universe, even in the center of the suns, in the center of the universes, in the center of Unicos. Now, for the first time, we see a new opportunity and a new system to be able to break through in the dimension of the travel in the universal strength, in a process that we create, we are part of, and we use what we created to achieve what we want to a point of destination, time and place, at the speed which we choose, beyond the imagination of today's man. Now we come into a new dimension and direction of transportation. How do we protect ourselves in these environments with the speeds beyond the imagination of the man? Today, when you travel at 1,000 kilometers and you come to a halt, the whole body goes through emotion. You go through all sorts of physical, what are called changes. We go, as we say, through different G's. Do we have a G transformation in the speed of light? Or do we create a condition of transformation of the fields of the universe that within it we structure ourselves, that our system, our body has a dimension of life at any strength of the magnetic fields? Does not matter if you come to it or you go away from it. Would we come to the point of going so fast with the different dimensions that we feel the weightlessness, that we float like a balloon? Does such a thing exist in the dimension of the speed of light? We can create it, but we don't need to live within it. For man to tune into the magnetic fields of the universe with the physical body has a limitation of physicality, which is lower dimension magnetic field, the strength of the same structure. This is why we advise a man who wants to travel at a speed of 1,000 to convert, instead of wearing a flight suit, to wear the soul suit, where the soul becomes the frog of the physicality, that it can protect the physicality within it, which allows it to travel at any speeds, because the soul of the man has the dimension of the totality in a loose direction. And he can link to anything at any point as he needs to go to or to come from. The use of the soul of the man, this is what we've been trying to teach you. It's not just to cover your body. It's another tool of transportation of the universe. You use through the soul the speed of the light. You use through the physicality of the man the speed of a donkey. You want to live on earth and travel with a donkey, you're quite welcome. You want to travel the span of universe to the moon, unfortunately, there is no oxygen, no donkey can go. Now you have to find a new donkey, new way of method of transportation, and that is the speed of light. This is the speed that we can travel in any corner of the planet, universe and unicos. Now you understand why we start teaching about the soul. Because you had to know about the soul. You had to get confidence in what it is, that you can get in it. You can use it. But unfortunately, you're already imprisoned it. And you travel after thousands and millions of years, you're trying to get into the car which you locked yourself with your own hand, with your own condition and behavior. And if you can get into this car, you don't need the dimension of physicality. You need the dimension of the speed of the plasma, understanding the totality of the existence, and voila, you move from a donkey of the man to the donkey of the light. And the progressive development of the man's knowledge will allow him to go faster and faster by the speed of light. At the moment, we measure the advancement of the man, what is achieved in science, in the world of the creation, in the transportation, the knowledge of the creatures of the universe are measured on how faster they can travel with the speed of light. Because as you go from 1 to 10, needs a different knowledge. And when you go to 100 and 1,000, needs a different knowledge. More understanding, more devotion, more detachment, that you have no carry. You can create a higher strength that you can reach the point. It will not be the strength of how many palaces and how many gold Rolls Royces you park outside that shows the wealth of you. The knowledge of how fast you can travel shows the strength of understanding the process of the creation. It's not by throwing the weights out of the basket as you were ballooning to go higher and faster. It's to understand the process of the creation of the fields that allows you to be able to achieve ultimately the speed of the light of the Creator. The knowledge of totality, because as it comes, it encompasses all of it. How long will it take man to go from L1 to L1000 and LC? It depends on the devotion of the man to the knowledge of the creation and what will come out of it as he releases more. Knowledge of the universe depends on the understanding of the process of interaction of the fields. Knowledge of the man on this planet, narrow-minded, to a surgeon of the heart, or engineer of oil, or a specialist in donkey shoes. When you become the traveler of the universe, the knowledge of the universe is open to man. But man has to understand which part of it he understands that he can be part of. One of the processes that we say do good, think good, and act good, is that what you collect in the center as the essence of the soul, that it become that jumping place, then in the future to allow you to understand to what level of what else. Because the more you have, the more you can concentrate within the center. This is why we call planets like Earth the nurseries of the creation. Understanding the limitation of the physicality into the dimension of work of the universe. You load your donkey on this life. That when it comes to travel, depends how much food you have in the sack to feed your donkey with. Mankind becomes so kind to himself that he'll find a kind of man that is kind to himself. That he can create that condition for the life of the man in the universe. What you load up on the saddle of the soul of the man on earth becomes the feed of you in the dimension of understanding the future, in the fields of what you will create, and where and how far can you go to create new dimensions and directions, new strengths in creating the positions and new life. Now, you manage to get to understand the speed of light. You manage to get on the donkey of light to travel the span of the universe. How do you keep the integrity of the soul of the man in its travel from one position to another? How do you manage to keep the integrity of the physicality of the man in this travel? How do you keep the understanding of the totality of the motion? Here we come to another point of understanding. Here we come to another dimension and direction. The way we explained how you can travel from one point to another now comes to play in reverse. You were going from here to here in the strength of 1, but you created the strength of 100 for the point of destination. But how do you keep the integrity of the plans of the life of the man in that journey? It has to be bigger. It has to be different. Otherwise, would not be able to keep his field strength. Then you need the knowledge to be able to create a field protection, which is at least L1000. That you have a clothing, you have a protection, that you make sure the whole package gets to the point of destination. If it's weaker in strength, it'll be absorbed by the fields of the universe. If it's not stronger in holding than its own transportation method, will be falling out of the basket. Then you understand, man in the journey to come to travel the span of universe, even with the UFOs, is to understand the process of engagement. The way man engaged his soul, now man uses the soul at a higher field of strength in the depth of his existence to create that barrier. That whatever is in this, I can hold on to. It is, in a way, if you understand it, bringing a higher field of strength to become the protection of the totality. There is a secret in how to do this. And the secret has been always open to you to understand. This is your magnetical. This is your gravitational. You have to understand which fields of magnetical to release in a deeper strength to cover the weaker strength in the boundary of the physicality of the plasma itself. In a way, you use from inside to create the condition to protect the outside. This knowledge has been taught in book number 3 in a clear way. The secret of life in depth of the universe, using light, transportation, transmutation, is clearly defined in book number 3, using references to book number 2. Then you understand mankind does not need a spacesuit of NASA or the stupidity of the man under the water. Man is fully equipped with within the strength of his soul to travel any position and condition in the universe. And all that knowledge from A to Z is within the 3 books. And in the teachings of past years, from day 1, the first knowledge seekers and before, we have covered the whole knowledge. Is for you to unravel the secret. To be able to carry the physicality of the man, the soul of the man, within the dimension of containment of the soul system, to create a condition of life in any position in the universe. Put it this way. The soul of the man creates the condition of the physicality of the man in the atmospheric condition of the earth. Now you have to go deeper within the soul to create another frog that can protect the same soul within the structure of the unicos, within the shields of the magnetic fields of the universes. Then you understand that all the teachings in past years had a reason. Mankind has to move to understand the field radiation in a cosmic ray, not the way it's done up to now, but in a true essence of the motion in the universe. Understanding the methods of transportation, transmutation, and understanding that even under atmospheric condition of the man, transportation of the fields of the soul of the man in interaction with the fields of the earth created the man at this point, the physical condition. What happened now that the man goes to the deeper soul strength with the interaction of the fields of the universe. Man will have a new look, will have a new dimension of manifestation where it encompasses the fields of the physicality of the man. the biggest secret for you is how to release this field that you can create different dimensions. Because once you manage to create this field, the next step is another field, the strength of the field of the Mars, the strength of the field of the another galaxy, or even the strength of the field of the Creator. Then you understand transportation, while is transporting in one, is a physical dimension in another which can encompass. This is the true transmutation if the man understands, not by changing materials, but by bringing fields to create the material condition as you need, using the same soul, using the same field interaction, without the fear of demise. Now you understand how simple we can do so. In a coming time, the Keshe Foundation from its research centers will provide systems which will allow to encompass the soul of the man, that we teach you slowly how to allow the soul to create different conditions of physicality manifestation in different field of strength, till you learn. Then, once you learn, it becomes the job of the child. The first child, through the process of understanding and introduction of the plasma field out of the womb of the mother, will be tested in a very short time. That the children of the man will be born both in the dimension of physicality of the baby and the soul at the same time, that it has the facility and knowledge of the speed of the lights of the universe. When we introduced the first enhancement unit, this was the purpose, to create the first condition for creation of the new generation of the man, which has the access both to physicality and the soul at the same time, with the knowledge of the physical dimension, within it, the knowledge of the universe and creation. That man will not do any more wrong. The new generation of the children of the man will be flawless. They shall never kill. They shall never destroy, as they know what they need, they can achieve within the dimension of their souls. Then they don't need to speak wrong, to do wrong, or think wrong, because everything is in their grasp to live a perfect life. The children of the Creator. The first of these children will be born to man very soon. And from there on, the new race will start. And then they will teach the man of now how to handle the new understanding. The way our children are teaching us how to handle the joystick, how to play the computer game, because they are one step ahead of us in the knowledge. The future generation of the man will teach the present man how to become detached from the dimension of physicality. This is my wish, and my wish is command and shall be done. To understand the totality of the creation, to change the course, that the man can travel in both dimensions, that in the position of physicality, he chooses the best, and in this other dimension, become the best. In so many ways, man will evolve in every dimension and direction. We try to explain the knowledge of the universe. We try to explain the understanding of the totality. We try to become knowledgeable in the knowledge of the universe. But first of all, we have to understand what knowledge we carry. What do we call the knowledge of man? What do we assess and access to as we wish to become knowledgeable in the knowledge of the creation? We have started the process of setting up the first centers that it brings man to the dimension of the spaceship technology in the coming weeks. That we start training and teaching man in the coming months and years to become the man of the space through his soul. that no one needs to buy him a spacesuit and no one needs to buy him the submarine suit. That man, with the space of the dimension of his soul, can travel the depth of the universe, and not only this planet. You have to be able to change in all dimensions and directions. You have to be able to understand the changes which are to come, to be able to live within the dimension of the creation. Mankind needs a helping hand to jump from the physical matter condition to the dimension of the fields of the universe. Mankind does not have that knowledge until it does not achieve peace within itself and within its race. Mankind will be barred from entering the both knowledges. This is what we call the knowledge of the creation. And the first child with this knowledge is already, becomes already part of the race of the man. The knowledge has to be complete. The knowledge has to be understood through the process of interaction of the fields of the universe, and you have all the tools. You've been given all the tools to be able to understand this process, to change, to bring the change, and to be able to sit amongst those who understand the totality of the knowledge. One day, mankind will understand the totality. And then, with it, mankind will break through the total understanding. The process of the creation, the process of the new dimension of the life is not anymore on what free energy mankind can attain, but how freely he can understand the knowledge of the creation. It's not another machine to be able to release the fields of the universe and the soul of the man. Is the freedom and the machinery of the man understanding the process of the creation and interaction of the fields of the universe. All those magnetic systems, all those dynamic systems, all those ganses, everything which is within the grasp of the physical knowledge of the man has been given to the man. But as I've said many times, you need to move from the dimension of physicality into the dimension of the field strength. Then you will understand the keys to the heaven shall be open to the man who understands the knowledge. And unfortunately, none of you, or very few of you, will ever teach this, as the knowledge of the universe become the pride of the man who is foolish to his own knowledge. Very few of you will endeavor to teach the cross point, as you are aware of one point. If I teach, would they abuse it? Or if I teach, they will lead us to a new dimension. And then it comes a time when the man will go to the source of the soul of the man to understand the totality of the operation of the man. We go to the point to be able to transmute from the dimension of physicality into the new dimensions of the soul. To understand the process of the creation, to understand that mankind can become a totally independent entity of life anywhere in the universe. But as I said before, it's like when you want to drive. You need to go to driving school, get an instructor, and learn step by step. And most of these steps will be set in the enhancement units around the world. Through the enhancement units, we'll teach you how. Through the enhancement unit, we show you how you can elevate your soul to come out of the dimension of physicality and become stronger for different dimensions and directions of the interaction. The enhancement units are not just for the body of the man, but embedded in it is the embodiment of the soul of the man. The interaction with the soul is the ultimate goal and the process of the manufacturing and production of the enhancement unit. We touch the soul, we reach the universe. We touch the man, he still be in the prison of the village of the earth. The whole purpose of introduction of the new systems, as you will see in the coming days, the first ones will be in public, is to start to bring a condition that man can elevate directly through the soul of the man in interaction, transportation, and transmutation of the physicality to the dimension of the transportation and transmutation in the dimension of light, in the dimension of understanding the totality of the interaction of the lights of the universe. In the coming time, the first spaceship centers built will bring this condition that we make them the point of the clean, what we call environment, but not only the workers of the site, but the souls of the site work and live in a perfect condition. We will build the first spaceship institutes, grounds, and land in the beautiful land of Iran. In the coming weeks, we will announce. And the spaceship centers become the spaceship cities that the man will learn how to live across the universe. The Iranian Keshe Foundation in the coming time will announce the location of the new spaceship centers. The first will be built in Iran, and through the new technologies we release, will make it a position where the man can interact with the universal community's interaction. With us to be able to travel the universe with understanding of totality. We salute the Iranian government and leadership to facilitate such a system and area for the Keshe Foundation. We understand the totality of the work, that the space technology has to come from the excellence of knowledge and not excellence of weapon technology. Where every man has access to the totality of the knowledge and the totality of understanding the knowledge of the creation and the created. Where knowledge seekers can come in and add to the knowledge of themselves and the others, and maybe those who travel the universe, a new knowledge, where man has a unique access to a unique emotion and feeling which is not unknown so much in the universe. The love, the care, the beauty of the creation. In so many understandings of the technology, man has made many mistakes. But in the coming time, you will understand that the totality of the knowledge of the creation sits within the structure of the man. You do not need to become travelers for a few seconds on a weightlessness, but you become weightless in the span of the universe through shedding the unwanted but total, what I call devotion, to serve the universe, not only the man. Nowadays, if you serve nations, you become a spy. When you serve the whole of humanity, you become unacceptable. And then imagine the man who serves the universe. You're definitely the work of the devil to today's understanding. But in the universal community, there is no higher position for being to serve the universe and not itself. And this will change. This, as the earth is the embodiment, the source place of what we call life, the new souls leaving this planet to create the new suns and new dimensions will carry this new essence with them, that they never shall create any condition that no harm comes to any collection of physical souls or what we call plasmatic fields anywhere in the universe. We have seen problems when the soul of the man converts in dimension of physicality in different positions in the universe. Some of the misconduct of behaviors of the man is still carried within the soul of the physicality of the man. And we need to change that before we make man a man of universe. As I said, we start delivering the universal enhancement systems that gradually numbers of men can be elevated to that position, to understand, to be able to become the passengers of the universe, and gradually set the scene for the rest to follow. The universal enhancement unit, all versions of it, are different means and methods of transportation and transmutation in the universal dimension. You want to travel with the totality of the physicality, you welcome to the body enhancements, vertical, horizontal, and what we have today. You want to travel with the understanding of the fields of the emotion, the new universal, what we call vision enhancement units to be introduced in the coming weeks, will allow you to travel in a dimension of the soul of the man. If the physicality is not of the importance, but it opens the eye of the man to new dimensions of the transportation and transmutation. I gave you a hint in the teachings of last week, where I said I can create shooting a star, moving in every direction and dimension as you like, as seen by knowledge seekers who are around me. The same knowledge will come from the expansion of the soul of the man with the plasmatic magnetic fields of the dimension and the position. As you stand next to me, I decide that you shall see shooting a star in that direction. And at the same time, I decide that you will see shooting a star in that dimension in the same environment as I explained last week to you. The soul of the man decides the position and the direction, and the other souls gets the satisfaction of knowing the knowledge, but knowing that it can be done with such a perfection. It's the same as I said to you, you create a craft and you create a point and dimension in the universe where you want to go to. And at that point, you travel. Here, I create that point and dimension, not in the emotion of the system, but in the emotion of the man. Then you understand how easily I can move within your soul. Your physicality is just a play. You see my vision through the soul. Your eye fools you to the existence of the meteorite. I create that meteorite shooting star in your soul, and your soul converts it to the reality of the physicality. I am the best magician you ever see in the universe, but still live in the frock of the man. And the new vision enhancement is to open the vision of the man to this dimension of work. We give you a sight back. You recover from your blindness and your cataract. But the purpose of these systems is, in long term, to allow the soul of the man to find confidence to take the dimension of the soul. The first set of these vision enhancements has already been agreed with Arizona Center. This is a part of the peace dividend which is floating, and it will be delivered in a very rapid way. Understanding the process of the knowledge will make you a beautiful magician. It's very much with a man with a coin standing in front of you. 1 second is there and 1 second is not there. But we all know that coin was from the beginning with a man when he arrived. It's how he allows us to see it. I came with the knowledge of creation and the creator as I am the one, in understanding the totality and to share. But depends how vigilant you are to see where the coin comes up and where the coin might disappear. We came with the totality of the knowledge for the man. We took our time, thousands of years, from the mountains to deserts. We traveled. We came from the what we call the valleys and the forests. But now it's time to educate the man in total and in totality of all, from Amazon to Beijing to the palaces of the White House and what we call the mosques of Iran. The knowledge of the creation will touch mankind beyond his understanding and will change man. Will change man beyond understanding, beyond what he could imagine the creation could be. But first of all, you have to accept the peace. The peace with the man itself, and then the peace with other men in the dimension of physicality. Yesterday, I was in Vienna, and I passed a hotel where the peace negotiations between Iran and 5+1 is in progress. Still, the police cars and dignitaries of negotiating how to cheat a nation out of his knowledge going on. And I thought, what a fool. The nuclear industry you're trying to cheat is nothing compared to what the man that sits outside is watching can give you, that it becomes useless even to that, but it still comes from the nation of Iran. You're happy with the crumbs, you can have it, but the cake is in the hand of the man outside. Understanding the new technology will bring changes beyond the imagination. But the mankind, the leaders of this planet, have to agree on one thing, that they are equal in race, in the path of belief, and as one nation. And I have never failed in any of my work in the dimension of the creation to achieve what I want. Try to understand the inner sanctum operation of your being, what has created you, and what has led to manifestation of you in the dimension of physicality. You're not happy with the look, you're not happy with the behavior, do not go for a plastic surgery or to a psychiatric treatment process. Go within your soul. You can change the color of the eye, the shape of the man, and the emotion of the man. But there is no need for the interference of cutting the body of the man open and injecting something in it. Because if that is the point of satisfaction of for you to happy to be able to serve, that shall be served to you. You will achieve it. if it's for self, what I call fulfillment of being better than the others, you're still in that knife and the plastic surgery. And I'm sure Dr. Rodriguez is very happy to help you with it. But in that process of helping, if you lose your soul, you lost your knowledge. Even you think you have achieved what you thought you achieved. Try to create a field systems that interacts with the field of the soul of the man and not with the physicality. And if you come to Linz on the 2nd and 3rd of October, you will see the new machines which will do that for you. But still, you can go in as a man and you come out as a man as your expectation was to achieve something which your soul knows the truth, what you have been done with it, or you would like to do it. We invite you to Linz and you come and see what is to come. As I said to a knowledge seekers very past few days, the Linz exhibition is like the Chicago Fair, where for the first time the light was shown by Tesla, the light bulb to light up the city, and it became a changing point for all of us. The Linz exhibition is more or less the same. Will change the life of every man. There won't be a light on the streets and at home, but there will be the light within the soul and the physicality of the man. Beautiful Tesla enlightened the physicality, and I enlightened the soul. But the purpose both is the same, to bring comfort and progress for mankind, one in the dimension of physicality and one in the dimension of the soul. Maybe, as it was the same soul with the prophets of the messengers of the soul of the man, maybe it's the same soul from the knowledge point of view, the same with Tesla and that. And maybe all souls are all the same for both prophets. The progressive development of the science is understanding the truth about the creation. And in so many ways, maybe it's the time for man to see the light on both sides. As we said, we've been and felt the hammer and the nail on the hand, on the cross. We've been the same in Chicago and the other places to see the same, that the same progress builds up. In essence, it's the same man, the soul. Maybe with some feature, physicality, similarity, as it has to be the same, as sees the beauty in the condition of the creation. And in that process, you might have seen the face of Christ and the Moses in the same dimension and direction. Mankind has to understand the path for him to become correct in conduct and living is not a matter of days and not, as has been said, for thousands of years. Understand the process of the transmutation, then you understand the totality of the creation. Then you understand why we wrote the paper, that the prophets and the scientists are the same. As in soul, it's the same soul. In the knowledge and understanding of the true prophets and the true scientists, be it from Moses to Tesla. It comes according to the understanding of the knowledge, and one comes to the maturity of the soul. But time has come for the man that matures both at the same time, that there is no ambiguity in what the future has hold and will hold for the mankind in the dimension of the creation of the universe. we have to say that some similarities are made and kept, that one recognizes the essence of the original soul which have created the faces and the time and the places. I hope you understood a lot today in many dimensions and directions, and I hope you understand what is to come. Try to achieve, to understand the process of the interaction of the fields if you want to become the man of the universe. Otherwise, be happy with making ganses and playing the Gans game till you become mature, that there are the fields which this Gans gives, and how can I use it to and for the benefit of the others than me to achieve. Thank you very much, Rick. If you'd like to have a break, we come back and we answer those who might have been enlightened to a little bit more knowledge than present business with nothingness. Would you like to go to a short break and we come back?
Sure. Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We'll just be a few minutes here and play some advertising from the KF store and be back in a few minutes. Thank you, everyone.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now, you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, hello everyone. We're back again at the 397th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 9th, 2021. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin the second part of the workshop today, which will be, I presume, questions and answers?
Yes, as usual, ready, able, and willing.
Okay, let me see what we have here. We have a couple of hands up right off, and I'll remind the attendees here in the Zoom chat that they can raise their virtual hands, and we can allow you to open your microphone to speak. We have someone new here, Saga SS. Allow you to speak first, and we have Ed and Salamia behind that. And you go ahead, Saga.
Alô?
Yes, hi, let me hear you. Can you say who you are and where you're from?
Muito obrigado. Eu gostaria de perguntar ao Sr. Keshe se meu entendimento está
Hold on.
correto.
Can you please bring, I think it's Portuguese. Do we have
Portuguese? Huh?
I think so. Where are you from? Portugal? Sorry, Brazil?
Sim, Brasil.
Hey, Raphael should be able to help, eh?
Yeah.
Raphael, can you go ahead?
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Pode
Ok.
falar, Saga.
Obrigado, Rafael. Sr. Keshe, eu gostaria de saber se o meu entendimento está correto, e eu teria uma dúvida se estiver correto. Para gente que mora próximo à praia, ao mar, vamos dizer assim, somos caiçara, né? Eu entendi, estou entendendo que quando uma pessoa entra no mar para, por exemplo, surfar, ele consegue ir de um ponto a outro na velocidade do mar, ou seja, do campo do mar. Eu pego uma prancha, subo em cima e transporto o meu corpo físico pelo mar numa onda de forma muito rápida.
So the first part of the question of Saga is, my doubt, please correct me if I'm wrong, but my doubt is, and what I understand is, where Saga lives close to the sea, and he understands and he sees that the people who surf in the seas, make surfing, that when the person goes inside in the sea, he can go into the flow and transport itself through the waves of the sea. This is the first part. Pode continuar.
Então, eu entendi, estou entendendo, se estou certo ou errado, não sei, é que todo esse translado que o Sr. Keshe está tentando nos ensinar se dá dentro do magrave, ou seja, do campo magnético e gravitacional com o meu posicionamento. Sendo assim, eu poderia utilizar as ondas do universo para me ir a um determinado local, a um determinado planeta, ou situação do universo na velocidade que eu consegui sintonizar dentro daquele campo magnético do universo, das ondas do universo.
So the second part is, so I am understanding that all this that you try to teach us is inside the magnetic fields of the universe, like the guy who go on the sea and go the fields, the waves of the sea, we go and learn the waves of the universe. So with this, I could use the waves of the universe to go in the velocity that I can tune with in the universe.
Ou seja, toda a desmistificação, todo o processo se daria no meu entendimento de compreensão, de manipular, de usar esse magrave existente no universo, que, assim como o Mr. Keshe fala, a Lua faz subir a maré, faz descer a maré, faz nascer planta, faz murchar planta, ou seja, tudo se daria nesse magrave. Se o meu entendimento estiver correto, a minha dúvida é o seguinte: assim que eu compreenda como manipular e como, vamos dizer assim, surfar dentro desse magrave do universo, eu necessitaria de algum aparelho, assim como o Mr. Keshe fala da cápsula, do enjaulamento. Existe a necessidade de eu ter algum aparelho específico para isso, ou eu, com o entendimento do magrave, posso criar através da minha alma, né, essa proteção, esse aparelho que daria proteção ao meu corpo físico, ao estado do meu corpo físico, no translado, né, de um ponto a outro.
So all the process in my understanding of is about the manipulation of these magravs in the universe for us to travel. So my doubt is, as I can understand, how to serve in this, how can we serve in this magrav of the universe? Do I need an equipment for this? Or me, with the understanding of my own magrav, I can position myself to a specific place?
Obrigado, Rafael. Obrigado, Mr. Keshe. Essa é a minha pergunta e a minha dúvida se o meu entendimento está correto.
So thank you, Mr. Keshe. And this is my doubt, and I would like to know if my understanding is correct.
You understood 100% correct. But it depends on what the strength you want to travel the oceans and the waves on the oceans of the universe. Some of it we see as light, some of it we see as fields, and some of the true fields of the universe are not even visible to the eye of the man. But the field forces of the universe are the undercurrent of the sail of every object in the universe within the ocean of the universe. And that's all it is. We try to teach you how to use the field strength, what we call at the speed that has no dimension, but on the planet Earth has been dimensioned to be the fastest at the speed of the light. And in fact, that's all the purpose of teaching is, for you to understand a new method of travel and transportation and transmutation. Or if you cannot do it with your soul, create the machines, you call it UFOs, that they become the systems that can create the condition of your soul to do the traveling at the higher speed for you. This is where the change has come. You always went on a donkey, or you went on an aircraft, and you deposited a soul with it, and it took you from A to B. Now we introduce you a faster aircraft, you call it UFO. But the soul still is entrapped in the totality of it. But we show you that with your knowledge, that the soul has an option to be carried on its own. Does not need the donkey or the aircraft or a spaceship. But as you have now learned to move it fast as it can, and it has the capability of, we show you better machines to do it for you, at least till you're mature enough to understand that what actually the main captain, the better system is within. And that's all the purpose of the teaching. Learn a new system, call it UFOs, to carry this encaged life inside you, or to go faster with it, or go to new dimensions with it, or trust and understand the master and travel on its own without the spaceship and physicality of the van or the donkey. It's all you. Depends how many more layers you want to put on this physicality. Would you like to translate?
Ok. Saga, tá me ouvindo isso? Saga? I don't know if
Does not matter,
Saga...
you translate. Doesn't matter.
Ok. Então, o que o Sr. Keshe estava falando aqui, basicamente, em resumo, é que você consegue, o entendimento do Saga está completamente correto, e o propósito do ensinamento é tudo isso. Você consegue fazer, o nosso objetivo é fazer uma viagem através dos campos magravos e não necessitar mais de óculos como a gente está acostumado a fazer, ou de naves espaciais como a gente está acostumado a fazer. Então, o processo ele foi ensinado, você pode ficar viajando através de um óculos e viajar pelo espaço, confiando a sua alma nesse processo, ou você pode também estar confiando na sua alma como ela sendo capitão. E esse é o nosso principal objetivo, fazer você confiar para você viajar por si só nos campos magravos do universo. I was translating simultaneously here also, Mr. Keshe, and Saga, he wrote here that he was able to hear my simultaneous translation in the Telegram that he was listening to. But I tried to make a summary in Portuguese of what you said.
Okay, thank you. Shall we move to the next person? Or are we finished with that part?
Yes, let me explain something very simple. When you're a child and you ask a question from your father, and he understands that you have not got the essence of the question, what he's answering you, because he sees a spectrum and you see a little narrow light through his answers. He tries to find another example, another way to explain the same thing for you to become enlightened to understand. And it's more or less the job we do. We tried long enough to teach the children of man how to do things the right way. And then some matured and some did not, and some went different ways. Now we're teaching one go, that we make sure everybody understands from the same hymn. Everybody understands the knowledge. And this comes very clearly through Brazilian community. In the school of the thoughts of most of us around the world, jungles of Amazon are the most remotest place where the most simplest people live, the most, what I call, no knowledge, access to nothing. And we consider them as something out of the line of all of us. We say, if you live in the jungles of Amazon, And then we have the knowledge seekers and scientists in universities and in governments around the world. As I said, this time, when we listen, especially, for example, last week to the Brazilian workshops, which was a beautiful presentation by all the knowledge seekers from Brazil, when you stood there and listened to all of them, they are teaching, and a man in Amazon, with a very simple understanding of what he has managed to understand the technology of GANs and has the same knowledge as the scientists in NASA and in other space agencies to use the GANs. And simultaneously, within months of releasing the technology of their cup of life, the people of the Amazons in indigenous groups are making gases, as we saw in the teaching of the Brazilian group, as we see in the laboratories, universities, and different places around the world. This is the true knowledge. And then this is where we came to touch, where to teach, independent of the place, position, and hierarchy of the man which is chosen for himself. It's beautiful when I see people in Amazon wearing the gas rings and making the ganses for Corona, as we see in what we call the parliamentarians of the Iran parliament, as we've seen with the leaders of the Chinese leadership, as we've seen within the structure of the European hierarchy. This is where the knowledge truly is understood and truly used at the same time, simultaneously, but with the freedom of choice, but with understanding the benefit of it. The next step for us is to bring the man of the Amazon to be able to build that spaceship elusive to the man in NASA, maybe earlier than that. And at the same time, we give them the opportunity to understand that elusive, the dimension, the strength of the soul. Maybe people of the Amazon, now they understand the power of the plasma and gases that they use and they produce, they become the true man of the universe long, long before any of those in NASA and other space agencies. They become the true flyers, and the others are still in dungeons and dogma. Which one has a higher degree to accept the opinion of a stupidity? But it's nice. I would like to thank you, Rafael, and the whole of the Brazilian team, that you took the knowledge to the depth of the jungles of the Amazon. And when we see them, when we see the indigenous people using it to save their lives, it gives me a pleasure that we have managed to reach mankind right across the spectrum. We've seen ambassadors changing the office of embassies into the laboratories of gas production in Denmark. And we have seen diplomats and politicians carrying in their suitcases. And when we see it used in Africa and in jungles, now we understand truly we have reached what we wanted to mankind at the same time. And nobody can abuse it against the other. You've done a wonderful job in Brazil, Rafael and your team, and the whole of the Keshe Foundation Brazil. We see the same in Iran, we see the same in China and other parts of the world. And this is where the true knowledge comes. And truly we have reached where we came here to serve. Thank you very much to all of your team and the Brazilian group. It was a beautiful presentation of your workshop this Saturday.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. Thank you for your presence there with us.
Mr. Keshe, you mentioned indigenous groups, and that came up in the Keshe Plasma Reactor group last night as well, or yesterday morning, depending on local times. And we mentioned in that group how the Cherokee Nation from the US had signed the World Peace Treaty July 24th, 2017, about 4 years ago. And the thought came to me, as it has in the past at times, that it would be a good time to bring together or have them come together, the Aboriginal and Indigenous groups, tribes, and nations from around the world, to speak as one voice and all sign the World Peace Treaty, and so become perhaps the first real nation that's a signer of the World Peace Treaty to speak as one voice from all countries of the world, but as one nation. So I think that would be interesting. What do you think of that idea? Is that something that the Keshe Foundation or the Universal Council could get behind?
I think so, you can do, but there is much more it can be done. For indigenous people, the true history of a man, the way they lived and the way they live, and we got to support. There is a big need to put things right for them what's been done wrong to. But as usually, whenever you try to do this, they see you as radical groups and all sorts. The way we set the path of the Keshe Foundation is we share knowledge collectively with all and for all. And maybe we need to strengthen some parts. Maybe we need to create these conditions that the indigenous groups become aware that they're respected irrespective of the place and the position they're in.
It's interesting in the plasma group, Dean had brought up that he had gotten actually, I think it was in the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace on Tuesday, where Dean, not Dean from England, but Dean from the US, had brought up that he had acquired some land through a lease agreement or some sort of agreement, and was beginning to do Keshe agricultural practices on that land, and wanted to connect with the agricultural people from the Keshe Foundation and so on. And so he's actually beginning to work with the Cherokee people, Cherokee Nation, in that context. And you could see that could easily happen all over the world with different groups.
You got Dr. Gatwa and other groups. Hopefully very soon, I hope we can do it in the coming time. We're trying, I hope this is all things to happen, is in progress. You bring the Chinese, the Union agricultural groups and others into working together and sharing knowledge and collaboration. It'll be happening in the next 2 to 3 to 6 months. This is what we are planning to do and we're working towards. Then they can become part of it to learn. We're running a larger scale, particularly data gathering in different parts of the world. And Dr. Gatwa is the head of the agriculture of the Keshe Foundation in Namibia, in Africa. And he can support you if you put Dean in touch with Dr. Gatwa.
Yeah,
He's got vast.
He was actually there in the meeting, and it was the One Nation, not my plasma group. And Gatwa reached out to Dean, and they made a connection there as well. So
that's good. What happened with your competition? Where did you get with it?
Well, I can give the newest update here if you like.
Did you manage to get anything done?
Well, we haven't made it to first place yet, but it's getting very close.
Is it close today or is it tomorrow?
It'll be at, I have it as 6 a.m. I think. believe it was 6 a.m. Central European time. Tomorrow will be the end of the voting, the popular vote part of this contest. Let me just tell people briefly what this is all about. This is you've probably heard it several times from me already if you've been in touch with the Facebook and other groups, but this is the Create the Future Design Contest put out by Tech Briefs, which is a publication attached with NASA. And basically it's to commemorate and look at the various innovations and concepts and designs that people are putting out in 2021. And there's over 500 entries in this contest. And currently the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship unit has got 353 votes in this competition. If we look at the page with the number of votes, that puts it in the second position out of the top 10. And the top one has 466. We have 353. There's 110 or more vote difference, and the votes for number one keep going up as ours keep going up too. And there's only about another day of voting left. So I don't think we're going to be able to get into number one position, but you got to take into account that all this voting is just the popular vote part of this contest, which actually has nothing to do with the actual judging of the contest, which is done by a panel of 24 judges who look at the attributes of each of these entries in various categories. And there'll be a top one in each of the categories here that we see on the right. And this unit's in the medical category. And so, like I say, the popular vote doesn't supposed to not really influence the actual judges who judge on certain criteria. But certainly we've got the attention of the judges by having this Universal Body Enhancement Unit, which started out quite low in the position and worked its way up very rapidly. Actually, it's the fastest moving unit in the whole program here, and we blasted through into the top 10 and very close to number one position. It's also interesting if we look at the number of views. We're at 9,344 views now. And if we go to the number of page views, the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship unit is number one in this whole contest for views, people that have looked at it. And that's by 2,300 views more than the second and third place. It's another 2,000 less than that. So we're going to have nearly double what the next nearest competitors have in views, which is pretty significant. I think that's in itself quite amazing. And you can imagine the number of people besides just the knowledge seekers that have been exposed to this. So in a way, it's a bit of a foot in the door for plasma science to be introduced to mainstream science, is the way I look at it.
You know what your pitfall in this competition? This competition is run by NASA, correct?
Yeah.
NASA has a very strict policy when they put my name on it. You shouldn't put my name in it. That no one in NASA is allowed even to consider or talk to anyone connected to Mehran Tavakoli Keshe. This is directly from the head office of the Keshe and what they call NASA headquarters. So in some way or another, they will find to eliminate it.
That's no doubt true. I took that into consideration, Mr. Keshe, and I think that they are going to be put in a very kind of awkward position right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Think about this: if this unit wins the whole competition, and they by
won't allow it to.
that means they invite you to New York City for this big dinner, expose thing.
They
And
won't allow it to
you're
happen.
not allowed into the country. I'm not allowed into the country. We have to send John Bliven or someone to be a representative. But
I
they
don't
probably
think
won't have that. They won't have that. It's all
that won't
from.
happen.
This is directed from Keshe Foundation Canada. You happen to be a director of Keshe Foundation Canada. So in a way, this puts them in an awkward position, but
Yeah.
this is
So-
what they have to start accepting the technology. This is the only way out of it for them.
But you have to understand that, as usual, they find a riddle around it. But it was good to be in it. It was good to expose it. And hopefully we try our best next week to show this machine and the new system machines, which is added to this collection from the new, what they call exhibition center. We have given a strict, what we call understanding to those who work for Keshe Foundation and are within these premises, not to speak or leak or give any information from the fish tank to something else. And in the coming weeks, you will see new technologies out of the Keshe Foundation. Very, very rapidly by October, November, we will start showing breakthrough technologies. And we don't expect to win any competition because it's very hard to accept to do this. But it was a very good try. I told you from the beginning, it's a beautifully placed, and you will see they find a way to dismiss the entry.
Yeah, no doubt. They'll even have a hard time understanding the description here and what is all this stuff and so on and so forth. But it'll be enlightening to quite a few people.
I'm understanding it. They'll be told just dismiss it. This is a policy set by NASA headquarters.
Mm-hmm. But there is supposedly an independent panel of these 24 judges, which are not directly attached to NASA. There are various engineers and scientists and CEOs of companies and so on. They might be contractors for NASA, but they probably won't be told directly not to vote for it. But they might be. They might be when your name comes up somehow. It could trigger all the alarm bells and so on. But this is kind of a test. This is just a test, and we'll see what happens. And I
wish you all the best.
We need to break the ice somehow, Mr. Keshe. So we might as well. Why not put your best foot forward? This is the best. This is like the flagship of the Keshe Foundation, and it's under the medical section, but it could have been under any one of these other categories.
What's the highest vote on all the categories put together?
The highest vote is the one for this educational toy, 466 votes.
That is from all the categories.
Yes, all of these 10 leaders are from all categories. So the Universal Body Enhancement is in second position out of the 500 plus entries.
That's good. Let's see. But I was told by the Iranian knowledge seekers they can't get into vote. They have a lot of problems. And we'll see. A lot of other people have problems to get to voting of this space. Somehow it's set up if you're not English speakers, you have a problem somehow to understand, to follow it. I was told. But it's good. Thank you very much for the exposure.
Yep. Some of the groups are putting out videos with the translation of the how to vote and the step-by-step process in their languages. So that's something to consider.
No problem. Any other question? Wish you all the best. We know next week. When would they announce it?
Pardon me? Say that again. I'm not sure when the actual announcement is to be announced, they say. And the judging actually starts after September 10th, which is the end of the voting part, the popular vote part of the program here. And so that ends, like I said, at 6 a.m. Friday, September 10th, 6 a.m. Central European time, which is midnight Eastern time in the US, basically. So,
wish you all the best.
Yeah, we'll see. Just it'll
And
be
how do you win
interesting.
the prize? What is the prize if you win?
Oh, well, there is let's have a quick look at that. It's kind of interesting. There's prizes.
It's a free ticket to the moon, I think, from NASA.
Well, it's kind of interesting. The prizes, we go to prizes here. See that properly, we should be able to. For the most popular entries, the 10 most popular entries by popular vote, which we are undoubtedly in as number 2 right now, the 10 most popular entries determined through the online voting will receive a magnetic inspired prize package.
Yes, we're gonna get something.
Courtesy
Okay,
of Nanoport, it's called Nanoport, which is kind of an interesting name here. I'll just bring that up briefly. And they have what's called a tack hammer. And this is a little magnetic hammer actuator. See how it's moving back and forth and tapping? Now, when I thought of this, I thought of the tapping technique that you've talked about many times, Mr. Keshe, on tapping on the heel. And imagine this as a magnetic device that you could attach to the heel for people in coma or in hospital in horizontal condition. And it would provide that tapping automatically for the heel and produce all the effects that you've mentioned, which are quite amazing, actually, from just that tapping. In fact, I do pacing. I do pacing in the morning just to get that tapping on my heel. I pace back and forth and really stomp on my heel, and that helps get my whole system moving in the morning, which is important. The more older I get, the more I realize how important that is. So maybe this is something that could be attached when you're sleeping or something.
You're trying to tell me you're going to keep the president in Canada. I've got the message, no problem.
Well, no, you can have it if you want. I'm just saying this might be an idea that the Keshe Foundation could develop and then put it into next year's competition and win that one on the medical side too. Or use their own products to win. I mean, it's magnetic. It's kind of neat. So anyway, it's got some kind of experimental package that's involved with this thing, and it's actually about a $600 or $700 package in the U.S. It's not just a cheap little magnet thing. So anyway, and also the 100 highest scoring entries based on the judges' evaluation will get a certificate of achievement suitable for framing. And the awards dinner, the grand prize and the category winners, so if you happen to win the medical section, for example, will be invited to an awards dinner scheduled for November at the famous Walter Club in New York City, where they will be presented with a special plaque and have the opportunities to speak about their innovation. Okay, now
you didn't get any of it. We didn't win any prize. We didn't become number 1. Maybe we'll
get a dinner sent to us through online or something. A free dinner.
Yeah, they'll do the what do you call it? What do you use for delivery in your country? They will send you on a bike. It'll be there next year.
Maybe FedEx or something for a doggy bag from the awards dinner. Yeah. That would be good.
That'd be good.
So first place for each category is a computer workstation or laptop. In addition, we get the 1-year license for this special software and expensive software and so on. The grand prize for winning the overall everything of the whole competition is $25,000 US. Probably minus any fees from the government for taxes. You might be lucky to get that.
That's good. That was a very good try. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So back to our normal programming here.
Back to the program, yeah. What else are there any other questions?
Now, we had a question regarding from Malcolm that is relevant here. It says you mentioned I'm not clear on this, the new visual enhancement units will be released in a few weeks. Are these different to the goggles released a few weeks ago?
Yes, totally, yeah.
Okay, and I think you had another question. And if the goggles already released are the same as the visual enhancement unit you spoke of, is there a certain...
No, they're totally different.
Okay.
We're getting feedback on these glasses from people who took it. And take it and let us know if you can purchase them, and let us know, because it gives us an insight into a lot of things.
He's asking if there's a certain practice one does while wearing the goggles to enhance the process.
No, we don't give any preset ideas. We want to see what people come up with, what feedback we get. In line with this, maybe next week, we hope, Keshe Foundation, these are part of our what we call international clinical trials by the foundation. Many of you who suffer, and especially if you are over age of 50, 60, we suffer from what is known nail fungus. There we go, another helicopter, making sure Keshe Foundation is under observation. It's the whole city, there's only one helicopter, I don't know why every time passes over here. Many of you know what it is. I was told if you go to these nail salons, the ladies go, you pick up different kind of viruses or what different called funguses. We have developed a technology that all you need to do is to literally wet or soak your fingers and your toes 2 or 3 times a day, nothing else. And the results are amazing, but we want to know how far we can deliver this to be able to curb this. Many of you have a bad smelly feet and nails which are coming off, or you split, or all sorts. This is not what we call health or medical material we sell or whatever. This is a trial. We have made 1,000 of these units available. They'll come in the standard packages, and we value this on about €250. It's a small package, but it has shown massive results, very positive. We want to do a clinical trial on 1,000 cases. And this is for people who, if you go, Rick, on Wikipedia, bring nail fungus, everybody knows. Some of them are horrendous. Some people even lose their toe, nail, and everything. We have done trials over years, and now we want to put this 1,000 containers as a clinical trials outside around the world. It's all you need to do 3 times a day. You just put this in a glass jar and you wash your hands, not just your fingers, wash your hands and wash your toes and feet with that water. And we want you to take pictures before, during, and after. If you can describe the smell or whatever.
Mr. Keshe, what did you want me to search for specifically?
It's called a nail fungus.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a very common, especially for, that's the one, yeah. This is very common, especially people who go to hair salons and that kind of thing, or, sorry, nail salons, and to people over certain age, even the nail drops off. We want you to send us reports on how and what you see. This, we want to see the success rate, the smell, the infection.
Sorry, Mr. Keshe, can you adjust your microphone a little bit there? It's getting a little fuzzy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm playing with it. That's why.
Better. Thank you.
Okay. We want to see the response, and then we'll pass it on to pharmaceutical groups to what they call marketed internationally on the license. It is, it's been tried, and usually doctors up to today, there is no solution for this. This is not what we call medical apparatus. This is a clinical trial. We would like you to test it. Please do not digest or anything else. We sell this on the certification that the gas has been approved to be and tested in China on animals for Keshe Foundation Austria as a safe product for the skin. So it's within our trials certification, and we would like you to test this. And if you have any kind of infection, boils, and all sorts of things with it, picture them before you use and after use. Keshe Foundation store will open one which says fungus jar, enhanced fungus jars, what do you call it, the containers. And it's been valued, that is it's about €250 per bottle. And you don't need more than one bottle for the trial. And you don't consume it. You have to keep it always in the same, just keep on adding water to it at liquid condition. And you wash your hand within 3 to 6 months trial. This has been an irreversible condition up to now. We think we might have found part of the solution to it, and we would like to see it. And then the data will be passed on as part of the structure of the new Keshe Foundation to be, what do you call it, further developed or marketed by the foundation on the license to major corporations that can do the job. We need all your detailed addresses and everything, who it is, what you're doing, and you revert back to us. What they call the Keshe Foundation sales will market it next week or so. Same time, Keshe Foundation will release 2 new products in the next week or 2. One of them is a new advanced Keshe Foundation system, which we have developed for arthritis. And we will market it again on the clinical trials on the back of the certifications we have. And we want to know how using this device will bring changes into arthritis and bone pains. This machine has been valued at €2,500 and is again on the clinical trial purposes. Due to the fact that we are releasing the enhancement units into public domain, Keshe Foundation, most probably within next few weeks, will release the elusive power generator. As the technology is used in the enhancement units, now we are contemplating within the next few weeks, maybe a few months, to release the elusive power generators. Many of you have been waiting for, some of you already paid for them and waited, trusting us will come up. We are in a position to be able to hopefully release these into the market. But we tell you, we'll let you know more. The research hasn't stopped, the development hasn't stopped. And there are a couple of more new products will come into operation in sales, you will see. And as I said to another teaching, I think you will see the Australian group start putting their products up, and the same will come from other angles and groups in Keshe Foundation. And We will hopefully in the coming weeks, once the understanding completed, we'll start selling the paintings by the Romanian artists who make the GANS products and paintings. And we have asked Serfui to handle this because he owns what we call a painting gallery in London, to handle this on behalf of the Keshe Foundation for the artists who make things that can be put in the exhibition in Linz and be marketed on the Keshe Foundation website to promote new technologies where art can be used for health too directly as they use the gases for application and implication. So you'll see a little bit more will be coming up on the Keshe Foundation structure of the retail side. Any other question?
Yes, we've got some hands up here and some questions in the Q&A. If we could hear from Ed and Salamia. Ed next.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Actually, just a second, Ed. We did have Farzam who had put his a notice in the chat here. And I think he wanted to say something about the voting process for the unit in Iranian. So perhaps he can say something about that. I think they had some issues with being able to vote or something, but go ahead, Farzam.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Salam, dear professor.
Sounds like it's a lot. Dr. Barpur is Dr. Barpur is the part of the head of the Keshe Foundation in Iran. He's been heavily supporting and working for the corona and other problems in Iran with the Keshe Foundation team. He's our advisor and senior medical doctor in handling corona in Iran. And most of you, when you read the protocols on handling corona, come from Dr. Barpur. Dr. Barpur, بفرمایید.
خواهش می‌کنم، ممنونم جناب پروفسور. من فقط می‌خواستم راجع به این درگیری که صحبتش بود مطلب رو بگم. یکی این که ایمیل‌های کانفرمیشن به بچه‌های ما نمیرسه، به خیلی از بچه‌ها. یعنی همشون اعلام می‌کنن که ما ایمیل‌های کانفرمیشن بهمون نمیرسه برای ساین اپ تو سیستم. و اینکه این تعداد رأی‌ها من دفعه اولی که دیدم 390 خودی بود، یهو شد مثلا 320 تا 70 تا کم شد. نمیدونم که چی بوده، ولی خب یه خواهش از بچه‌هایی که خارج از ایران هستن، از نالشتیدرهای خارج از ایران داشتم که اونا که راحت‌تر به اینترنت شاید بهتر از ما، راحت‌تر از ما دسترسی دارن، این لطف رو در حق ما و بقیه که فاندیشن بکنن که رأیشون رو بدن، انشالله بتونیم اینو به همه نشون بدیم دیگه. ممنون.
متشکرم.
وقتتون رو گرفتم، ببخشید.
Dr. Barpur just has raised something that they see in Iran, and they've seen it, and that they do not, all the Iranians who have voted do not receive confirmation of their votes or what the response is supposed to come back. And they have noticed that for a short period, the voting reached 370 and then was taken down to 305 or 310. And the Keshe Foundation Iran believes that their figures are tampered with. They have seen figures in excess of
what they'll find is if anybody tries to send in more than one email address for their own identification, then it will invalidate those votes.
Yeah.
So if someone tries to send in 50 different emails for their own profile, then it won't work.
Knowledge seekers in Iran independently have sent their votes, but it does not. They don't get a response back, and they've seen the changes. They're asking if you can vote from outside because everything else they are not getting response back on the voting system, even they're voting.
I would suggest that they can try a VPN, let's go, the virtual network.
They fill in the application, everything goes through, but they don't get a response back or any shape. Very few people have received it. But anyway, was something which come from the Iranian Keshe Foundation, because they are promoting this very heavily for people to work.
Perhaps Ezra or someone else can assist with that to.
They've done everything.
Something.
They've done a visual video for it and the rest.
It could anyway. They may have targeted Iran to not receive from that location or something.
We suspected that, as I told you, anything comes from Keshe Foundation would be a chance. Do not expect much. It's very much like a Nobel Prize meeting we had in Delft University in Holland in 2011-12. The Keshe Foundation Discovery of Gravity was nominated for a Nobel Prize with 5 elite scientists from around the world to meet in Delft University to confirm that the technology, the discovery and the technology, and it was all organized by the United Nations and the offices of Delft University and 2 universities in Holland that organized this meeting. And when we attended, there were a bunch of taxi drivers and plumbers. And I contacted the professors who, before their name was given, they said we were threatened if we attend, we lose our position as a professors in Delft University and a couple of other universities, and one of them resigned. The Nobel Prize is just a fake. And we've seen this before, so do not worry about it. Carry on.
Well, thank you. So maybe we can hear from Ed now. Go ahead, Ed.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
My question goes back to your earlier in the teaching today, where you talked about traveling to a destination where there was not a planet or a sun or a star, but sending light to a certain destination. And so there is a certain, I understand you've taught us that light is taxi-destinated, and at any point in the universe, there will be a certain magnetic gravitational signature, perhaps, or configuration that the light that you send will be also that same. But then there's another parameter of light that you talked about, which would determine the speed at which you travel, 1L, 100L. And I'm trying to get a grasp of these different parameters of light and how we sense them. In my experience in the physicality as a musician, I know sound has different parameters. There's a frequency that determines its pitch. There's an amplitude that determines its loudness, and then there's variations in the waveform that create a different timbre or tone. And I'm wondering if there's any similarities. And then another part of the question is, when you send light to a certain place to create that point, what is the process of interaction that actually creates that point that we travel to?
What do you mean? Explain yourself.
The first part or the second part?
All parts.
I'm wondering, these different parameters of light. Well, first of all, am I correct in assuming that these are different parts or different parameters of the light that control these different functions that I was describing?
If you speak light as a spectrum of magnetic fields, yes. If you speak light as we see it, it is part of it.
I'm thinking of.
Well, you see, when you look at the, let me explain to you some other way, maybe. When you look at the horizon in the evening, it's the same light, but you see different colors of it. It's the same with the rainbow. And different speeds and different strength of it. In interaction of the fields in the universe, you have the same thing, but in a different dimension, strength of the both gravitational and magnetic. And in which strength you have applied it or you want to accept it is what will dictate you the spectrum of light. There is something which maybe we can explain it in a different way. The utmost source of light, the strongest source of light ever exists and will exist, is the emission of light from the soul of the Creator to the lowest of all that is not visible to the lowest of the fields. So we have light from the point of the essence of the manifestation of the Creator to what is not in the strength that can create fields of subdivision of itself to the light in that dimension. The understanding of the light means confirmation of the existence, not the light that confirms, as we see, the visual acceptance. When you are blind, does not matter if I put an orange color, yellow color, or white color, with what intensity in front of you. Your eye does not accept that frequency. You understand? So you have no confirmation of it, conversion of it within the structure of the pranama. But as I've said many times, I can make a blind to see, because we can confirm the light of the vision of the soul wants to see. You will see through the soul and it becomes a visual manifestation. Bats do with sonar, they make your vision. You can do the same thing with a bat. But when you speak about the light, gravitational magnetic field, when is that with us is starting from the source of the Creator is light in interaction with the field of itself to the light where the vision of the man spectrum further down, like we don't see the animals see in the dark when there is less light friction and the rest of it. So there is a subdivision of subdivisions. You want to travel, you travel at a higher speed than the vision. You want to go with a higher speed of travel, you go in much deeper, higher strength. But again, in that position, you have the speed of, over a speed of light in both directions, not one.
Mr. Keshe, we're not hearing you. I think your microphone got turned off.
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I go back to the beginning. The speed of light reference is depending on you, on the position. You can travel the speed of light. I started with beginning. If this is you, you can travel with the speed of light in both directions, going to or going away from. This is A to B. And in reality, you're in a circle. You short circuit it this way to the gravitational. You short circuit it to the return. You become magnetical in respect to A. In both directions, you can do passing a speed of lights. This way you might do it 10 times, this way you might do it 100 times. There is an explosion in the planet, in the star. You can get hit. You can still use its magnetical gravitational fields to run away from it higher speed than its matter state in respect to you can reach you. Or you want to get to the sun, but you want to go faster for whatever reason. You can tune into higher strength field of that sun. But how do you escape when you don't have a position B? You can create field strength of the higher order by going to the inner sanctum of the fields to create this imaginary position field B to go to. I have explained this in a paper about 20 years ago. In the present, we talked about this many times. In the present aircraft industry, we see chemtrails on the back. In the space technology of today, we see the light in the front. This way we know in a matter state you'll be there. This way we know your type of UFOs. Because you create a position, a magnetic field position respect to your position of destination, and you get pulled into. And you always, in the present flight system, you're in danger of whatever is in front of you can lead you, what you call, can lead to your demise. In this system, you always travel in a clean environment because you have created it. And with the backtrack trailer, you'll have complete protection. But you created this point. And you literally fly, once mankind learns the process, you always fly into the vacuum because you create a higher order magnetic field. When we see a UFO as a light, what you see is what's going into this thing is sitting more or less on the back end of it. With the plane, you see the track in the back. With this, here, more fuel you spend, the faster you go. Here, the higher strength fields you go to, the faster you go. Here you have a shield protection. Here you're exposed to physical reality. And you can create it again by what we call understanding of the position. The new dynamic systems are there. Keshe Foundation has placed the order for the first 4 flight systems to be manufactured for us, to be delivered sometime next couple of months. The first, what you call through spaceships to create condition of flight, has already gone on order to manufacturers. We promised you 6th of June next year. We have started the program already. 4 flight system has been put through the manufacturers to build the first systems that can fly and create condition of 6 passengers per craft. These systems will be shown by early January in Lens.
So, Mr. Keshe, how is it that point B is created? How do you define?
I explained to you. You have to create a high. If this is another planet, you create this gravitational magnetic field. If it's not another planet, it's a rendezvous point, which there is nothing. In the teaching, go back, I taught you how to create it. You create a field of a higher order than the speed of the travel. And then you have to create a field which is higher than the containment within that field and the speed. You don't have this whiplash and you have to stop, and this thing does not exist when you travel in the dimension of the speed of light. Because it's fields, it's not bumping, it's not physicality. There is no weightlessness. You say you travel in an aircraft and it's doing 1,000 kilometers an hour, yeah? But you walk around and you have your tea and your coffee and you go to sleep and you do everything else inside it. Is irrelevant of what the speed is doing outside. In the lighting system, in the light travel speed of light, we create the fields that the magnetic field of these stay position controlled. We don't create a force compression the way they do in aircraft. And you can travel at any speed because the strength of the system, your body is made of gas, works and interacts with a magnetic field which keeps it constant. Here you create a compression to keep 1G. Here we create a field strength that your body stays at the field strength of itself. There is no way that when you stop, your head falls on the rest of it. You know, I said that many times, even recent time, when the cars came out, the scientists proved that if you go over 25 miles an hour, your eyes will pop out and your brain will come out of your ear. Because they never understood. Now, from the beginning, you understand. You have to create a condition that the GANs structure of the body of man and his souls can be contained in. Then you travel at the speed of light and anything you like. Then you put it in a package of the energy field of a plasma. You create it, or you call it the soul can be reached. You create the position destination by a higher speed to get there. It's very much, I can explain it to you if you won't understand it. You sitting down and you want to go and you feel you want Mexican food. You get in your car and you drive to your favorite Mexican food and you get that food. The emotion of getting and going and knowing where you're going and expectation of what you're going to receive. All created by emotion. Emotion of hunger, emotion of the pleasure, the smell, or whatever that triggered you to go to the Mexican restaurant comes from the dimension of the field strength of the emotion of the man. Now we have to learn to work with higher emotion levels. Hunger is something which triggers us to do something for it. Love is another one. But yeah, we have a beautiful saying in Farsi, you've never been hungry to forget about the emotion of love, that the love doesn't exist because from the hunger you die. Love can wait. You understand?
Yeah.
We say, means you've never been hungry enough that forget, doesn't matter if your love is sitting next to you, sorry, you got to stay there, I'm going to feed myself first. You understand? So yeah. We are aware of higher emotion that control us. Now we have to learn the higher emotion that can be higher than our engagement of our souls. And then you make that Mexican restaurant the one around the corner, or the one which is a favorite across the city, or if it's not exactly the two you like, you go to a supermarket, you create that Mexican at home. This is the destination which is nowhere, restaurant home business. So you create that position in the universe where the other two are not there. We are aware of these different strengths, but we never analyze them to separate them to understand it.
Okay. I think the final point of clarification, I think you may have just addressed, but I know, like when we're traveling to a
the
sun.
Mexican food always touches the soul, doesn't it?
Yeah. When you're traveling to a sun or a planet, I understand there's a certain magnetic, gravitational, emotional context associated with it. But in just a point of space, it's not the same as the plasma of a sun or a star.
It is, because one is already created for you before, the other one you created yourself.
Okay.
That's the only difference. As I said, you go to the restaurant or you come and make it at home. This is making it at home a position. Put it this way, McDonald's down the corner is a place everybody goes to get the food. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's not a place of rendezvous, is it? But you decide to see somebody in the car park of the McDonald's. You understand? You made a point of position of meeting, not McDonald's did open a car park for you to have a meeting in it. You understand?
Yes.
So you create that position. And you have the facility to do because you drive your car and you park it there. Now, that's a new imaginary McDonald's meeting point. You can do the same, but the strength of the field of the creating a condition of plasma, what you literally do is this. You send two different field compositions. And the interaction of these two field compositions at this place creates a dynamic plasma field, which your system recognizes.
Ah.
You understand? So
Beginning to, yes.
You created yourself a rendezvous point by yourself, and you're at this point in your spaceship or in your soul.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Hey, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
It's amazing how McDonald's brings a lot of, clarity for the Mexican food. Carry on.
Okay, we've got Salamia with apparently a number of questions. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, thank you very much.
So you're probably allowed 2 questions for Mr. Keshe, but you have to compress them.
I am hungry of speaking because I was not allowed. Now I am in holidays and I can talk. Because I signed a code of conduct and I was not able to talk and have other activities during my activities, so it's correct. And now I'm in holiday and I'm free to talk.
Okay, so what's your question?
Yes. So regarding your body enhancement voting, I also had problems. And I was thinking, I am citizen of the planet, of the universe, how I can choose it. And I didn't find there Romania, I didn't see there, and I use Utah from United States, and I was allowed to sign it. And I didn't tell untruths because I collaborate with a university and multinational from Utah, so I was allowed to sign, and I was 101. And now I come back to Mr. Keshe, and I'd like to ask him. So, light is part of our soul, or the means of transportation or transmutation of it. Soul is principal matter, transmuted, created from light, from cosmic rays as a dynamic plasma interacting with other plasma. And my question is, transport at the soul level, so transmutation, the conversion in waves of light, because we are created from light, cosmic divine rays in essence. Can we convert light at the soul level in light at physicality as Tesla did? Because nowadays, after this pandemic lockdown, we will have climate lockdown, as General Secretary of NATO just announced that we will lock down because of climate change events. So we need to be prepared for another lockdown created by human war, climate war, because they have now the instrument to influence the climate, climatic war. So Bragadiru team is concerned with how we can get from convert energy at the soul level, so energy from plasma in energy on physicality, because we can afford nowadays in Romania and maybe in Europe to pay the bills for energy, for gas. It's amazing because they double the price. It's terrible. People can be killed by cold and hunger if they will not adapt the body to the conditions of outside. I just give you an example. Last night, not yesterday, it was very cold outside, but I was in a skirt, in a short skirt, and I start to dance and make a video, as I like to do it, you know. And I didn't feel any cold, and people around me was amazed why I have a suit of summer, and outside it was very cold. It was like 12 degree, 10 degree, and I didn't feel the cold.
Can you tell us what you're trying to ask? Because we can be here whole day.
Yes,
What
I'm a
is your
big talker,
question?
you know. So my question is, can we convert light at the soul level in light on physicality in order to cope this energetical crisis which we are facing in Romania because we can't pay the bills?
Depends. You can do with the present gases, and we have discussed this many times. There is the technology available. My knowledge seekers that your physical condition can feel warm when the whole room is iced up and frozen. You can create that condition of heat within the body without the interaction from outside. And you need a specific condition of magnetic field of gases to create a condition that you receive it. The water is frozen, the house is, everything is frozen, but you are warm, you don't feel anything. That can be done and has been done.
Yes, and my second question is, do we have a unique soul as a neutron, split it in electron and proton, electron the creation and the proton the creator? Are we a
No.
potential?
No, proton is not a creator. How can a proton be a creator when it's created out of something itself from the electron? They both come from a bigger pot. In a way, is part of the creator, both of them are. So it's not the create. So even I can tell you that the electron is the creator, is left over as a proton.
Yes, I heard from Mary from Universal Council this, and that's why I'm asking you, because I don't understand. So can we put together electron and proton and create the neutron? I mean,
No.
the fission.
Read the book number 1.
The fusion.
No, fusion doesn't exist. Fusion is a dream. Bringing field as to understanding of the same, yes. But fusion doesn't exist. The fusion, the way you talk for, is talked in the world of nuclear to bring electron to a proton. It's a dream will never come true because none of the equations adds up. It's a lot of good money spent on research, but unless you convert it into plasmatic fields and then put the fields together that they take what they like in balance out, if they have anything in common, yes, can be done. This is how it's done in the body of the man. But fusion to bring electron and proton together to make a neutron, no, because at the beginning, energies were released for them to be separated on the balance sheet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Much love and health to you, and God bless all of us, and especially you, because you are the messenger of knowledge, peace, and love.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Rick, what do we have next? What shall we call it?
I think you're probably getting a bit tired here, Mr. Keshe, and it's been another long haul through the universe here today. So,
yep.
I mean, we have endless questions, I think, and we have a couple more people with hands up, but it's up to you if you'd like to end now. We can do
questions and we call it a day. Please, those of you who are coming to Linz for the opening of the exhibition, please register to attend for the first 2 days of opening. Just do not turn up. You might get disappointed. We are not expecting many, we don't want many people. The exhibition center for the time being will be used as a what we call political and diplomatic negotiations and work. So we would like to know who's coming and how you come. Please register with the Keshe Foundation. And if you cannot afford to pay for entrance, for the entrance of the exhibition, as is the policy of the Keshe Foundation, we waiver the fee. If you're attending the 2-day workshop and being there in discussion platform, which is the 500, if you're coming for a day, which is a €100 entrance fee for everything else. Please sign yourself into coming, because we are setting a structure. We brought in new people that is to be arranged for the schools and universities trips to come and see the new, for the diplomatic course, people flying from different parts of the world to see the breakthrough new technology. And we welcome you for the opening day on the 2nd and the 3rd, but please register. And we are open to share, and from the 3rd or the 4th of October, the exhibition center is open every day of the week from 9 to 5. And for those who want to come to visit, it's an open, what we call visit. And please make sure that we keep everything very clean and cut. We are waiting for new instructions from Austrian government for new rules and regulations with the quota, which should not affect us as much, as we have a large environment of over 1,000, a few hundred square meter. We can easily accommodate up to 50 to 70 people at a time. Any other question, Nick, please? A couple of questions.
Okay, let's try a couple more with Alexandre. Could you go ahead? Alexandre Perez, are you there? You can open your microphone. You should be able to unmute there now.
Alô? É Alexandre, tá me ouvindo?
Brasil?
É
Português?
Alexandre de Brasil. Yes.
Rafael, the floor is yours.
Bom dia a todos, bom dia, senhor Mr. Keshe, bom dia, senhor Rick. A minha pergunta está relacionada à aula que o senhor explicou hoje. Eu queria entender um pouco mais como fica o nosso estado na fisicalidade viajando no estado de luz e, ao mesmo tempo, a preocupação seria também em estar em ambientes que talvez, pelo que eu entendi, por exemplo, como o senhor falou, de estar no sol, como fica essa diferença de energia nossa em relação a esses campos, esses locais? E uma outra segunda pergunta...
Deixa eu só fazer a primeira.
Ok.
Deixa eu fazer a primeira. Obrigado. So you have two questions. The first question is he would like to understand how it will be, how our physical state, our physicality, will remain if we travel by the light. How it could, what will happen to our physicality if we travel by the light?
Can you repeat what you said? Can you repeat here?
Yes. So Alexander said that he would like to understand more how what will happen to our physicality in a more clear way if we travel by the light to the place.
We do not travel with a physical dimension when you go to the dimension of speed of light. This is what is we're trying to bring to be understood, that the highest speed travels with a physical dimension has a lot of hazards. Certain limitations will be brought in by the compression of the field. By traveling by the speed of by the energy plasma, you can create a plasma field and be in it that can interact with the fields of the universe. You can still travel faster than the speed of light, but then you have to be in the dimension of the fields, not matter state.
Ficou claro, Alexandre? Você conseguiu ouvir?
Ok. Sim. No caso...
Deixa eu só falar para ele. Deixa eu só falar para ele que você quiser ouvir. So, Mr. Keshe, Alexander here heard my simultaneous translation already when we were speaking. I was translating. Okay. So, he have a second question. Pode falar, Alexander.
Ainda em cima da resposta do senhor Mr. Keshe, nesse caso, onde fica a fisicalidade nesse momento? Eu vou estar com a alma num lugar e a parte física em outra, fora a minha outra pergunta que ainda tem que fazer, tá bom, Rafael?
So, as a continuation of this answer, we would like to know where my physicality stays in this process. When what would happen with the physicality if I choose to travel through this process of life?
I don't understand.
Let me try to ask him again to repeat the question. Então, como é que seria, Alexandre, pode deixar mais claro a sua pergunta, por favor?
Ele disse que a gente estaria viajando não com a parte física em si, através dos campos. E aonde fica a parte física nesse processo?
So, Alexandre's question is, you said that we travel through the fields. So, what happened with our physicality if we just travel with the fields? Where the physicality stays?
Our physicality is an illusion of fields. Your skin is your skin is 3 layers of fields interaction. It's not in a matter state. So when up to a limit, as you change the magnetic field of the environment, they interact as gases with the environment, not as matter. This is why we can put the physicality within a capsule of the soul of the man to expand to beyond it, and still keep the integrity of the physicality and the soul of physicality within it. It's understanding that our skin is not a solid state calcium or whatever. It's made of the composition of plasma fields interaction. And all these fields can individually interact with the environment, or we can sustain it as one and change the environment around it to create a speed. You will translate.
Conseguiu
You
entender,
already
Alexandre?
translated it.
Sim, sim, entendi.
Yeah, I translated this again.
We are not in a solid state matter. Our body, even we touch it, is not even a matter has a dimension of physical interaction of field. If you want to move a stone could be solid here, but if I take it to the moon, the soul of that stone will become creatures which walks and talks. We are not dealing with a matter condition. That's why the field of the soul of the man can encompass the fields of physicality of the man, because it's all on a field strength interaction. Keeps on going back onto it, understand. We call it interaction of the fields. The skin of the man is a dynamic process of fields, plasmas. And the interaction of different layers creates the condition of the containment of the body of the man. So it's a mirage. The total life in the universe, if you understand the interaction of the fields, nothing is physical. Depends on the reference point of the observation. Any other question? Thank you very much.
Posso continuar, Rafael?
He's asking if he can continue to one more question.
Yeah.
Sim, por favor.
Ok, obrigado. O senhor vem falando a respeito da elevação da alma, da humanidade, das pessoas. Como é esse processo e como o senhor está fazendo isso para que a pessoa consiga realmente se elevar? Como é esse conceito e o que seria realmente, dentro do que o senhor explica, a elevação da alma do homem?
So the last question for Alexandre is: you talk about the elevation of the soul of humanity and the soul of the man. So I would like to know, how is this process? What do you mean about elevation of the soul? If you could explain more in details.
The elevation of the soul of the man is for man to be able to live in any dimension and position according to his will. In the body of the man, the soul of the man is engaged and is taken around by the fields of the physicality of the man. He hardly has any control over it. It's like being tranquilized and taking charge of. When we talk elevation of the man, soul of the man, is to be able to understand the existence of itself through, if he likes to say, the understanding of the emotion of the physical condition, which means you're aware of a higher order field of strength plasma within you, and you can give it the freedom to live independently of the physicality. That's what the elevation is. And then even detached from physicality. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you. Any more, Rick? The last questions.
Well, we have Azar with the hand up here. Actually, let her go ahead, although Antonio in the Q&A had a relevant question with detachment in it, which was, in order to travel faster in the universe, does it depend on our degree of detachment? Would this restrict where we can go and how far?
Roughly yes and roughly no, depends on your choice.
We'll leave that a little bit mysterious for now.
Yep.
And,
gradually we'll open up. People will understand more of it.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Azajan. How are you?
I'm good.
You managed to get yourself back to New York?
Yes, I did. And that's
in
why
all.
waking up in the morning is easy now at 2 in the morning because of the jet lag. Before I go to what I want to say when I raise my hand, I want to go back to the discussion you had with Ed. When you choose a location to meet, a rendezvous location, which is not the place, it's just a location. So I have to give it a strength. Say I am a 10,000 strength. I create a location with 1,000. Then I have to call you if you want to meet me there. I said, Mr. Keshe, the location is 1,000, or you choose your own strength for that location.
You'll find out these things are man-made dimension you talk. When it comes to dimension of the souls, if you have the line of communication or a strength connection, the emotion of the time and the place in agreement with other fields is very easily made. You don't need to give an address, you understand? When you put, I always refer back to Rick's magnets. When you put a new magnet in position, or that's your wish to be in that position, you see all other magnets move to accommodate. There is no location, you move to that, I move to the others. This is the beauty to live within the structure of the soul.
So it's just like when you fall in love, you already know what your lover wants because you can read their mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go back to what I was.
But depends if it's you in love or you're both in love. It's very big difference. Huh?
Okay.
One-way traffic is both-way traffic.
A two-way traffic.
You turn up and there is nobody there. Oh, sorry, I thought I loved you, but nope. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Keshe, when I was in Iran, because I was there for a longer time, I noticed a lot of the stuff. One of the things I noticed when we talk about today, traveling with the soul, a lot is happening. People are doing it in Iran, but they have a word for it, and I keep forgetting it. And then it's called Tayor as they leave the body. But then fascinating thing for me was the non-assist people from my parents. They just moved in.
Can you explain the word you said? Tayor as in Arabic.
It's called Tayor as.
Yeah, it's parande. If I'm correct, this means a bird. You can parwas tear. As is the earth, the what do you call it, the universe, whatever you call it. So they can travel the universe if I understand correctly, the Arabic.
Because Dr. Bab, who told me about it, that was a guy who does Tayor as, and then I went to Rome and I asked my cousin, and my cousin said a lot of people in Rome, they do that too. And then I said, how can I do it? He said, you have to become a student, one of the master in Rome in order to learn that. And then fascinating was, I was back in Tehran, downstairs from my parents, the new people moved in, the religious family, and my dad told them about the plasma because somebody got the COVID. My dad asked me to make them the new protocol for the family for the COVID. So I made that for them. I gave it to the woman and I explained everything to her. And then the next thing you know, the father called my dad. He is going to the bazaar to buy the copper and the zinc to make it. So the next thing my dad says, why don't you go downstairs and teach them cup one, cup two? So I went downstairs and the mother, father, and the daughter were there. So I teach her, I made a setup for them for cup one, cup two, and they asked about you. I mean, they wanted the whole story. So we had like about 2-3 hours conversation, and they were fascinated by it. And the next thing you know, I came back, my dad got a text from the mother that the son wants to meet me the next morning because he has some question. So this little boy, 18 years old, came up, and then he's asking me all this question, but then he told me about Taylor as. I said, he says he's trying to travel with his soul. I said, I'm fascinated, but everything I was telling him, it was from plasma technology, but he was looking at it from different way of coming to it, but he was already there. And it was fascinating for me. And I said, how many people like you exist in Iran? Because you're only 18 years old. And it gives me hope that we are actually at the verge of change, because I never knew somebody like you can exist. And then he said, yes, he was talking about Taylor as traveling to this with the soul. And then he told me, okay, if Mr. Keshe brought this technology, what about people who are not good and they can travel to universe and they're going to mess it up? I said, it's not going to happen, because the knowledge is very intelligent, is a creator knowledge. So it doesn't happen something like this. You have to be in peace within yourself, in peace with the whole cosmos in order to be able to do it. And then the fascinating thing for me was, for the first time I noticed there's tons of people that already there exist in all over. I just noticed this about Iran, that they're ready for this movement, the travel of the soul. I mean, I'm older generation. I'm 60 years old, but 18 years old, I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. And I was so, it was such a joyous moment for me to see people like him exist. And I also told him that. I said, it just brings joy to my heart and soul to know somebody like you exists, that you think about travel of the soul at 18 years old. So this was going to share.
Thank you very much, Azaja. Shall we call it a day?
Sure, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you for today. I hope you listen to the teaching part of today and learn a lot as we are getting prepared for what I call a new angle, a new ways of understanding and living, and in a peaceful way. And we'll see what comes up and how things will take shape. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for today's 397th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 9th, 2021. And I just wanted to remind people we have the Testimonials Workshop. Let me get the date. Coming up on Monday, September 13th. And that starts at, let me see, that's the one at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So people are welcome to bring their testimonials of the plasma technology and show them in that meeting. And let me see, don't forget to vote for the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit if you can, realizing that people are having some trouble with that. But if you're able to, then thank you very much. And we'll see the results of that perhaps next week. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll play some ending ads for the KF store. And thank you everyone for attending today's workshop.
innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge, in a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information. Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. KesheFoundation.org/donate